Hello and welcome back to the Business First Creatives podcast. Guys, I am over the moon for today's guest. And I do want to give this episode a little bit of context. You guys know I'm not one of those people who does like a lengthy intro, but I feel like context will really help you. So if you have not listened to episode 26, which was released the week of Thanksgiving at the end of 2022, you might want to pause this episode, listen to that episode, and come back. Or after you listen to today's guest, I do highly recommend that you listen to episode 26 and you do an offer audit on your own. So today's guest is Jill Smith, and we know each other from photography circles on the interwebs. And after I released episode 26 at the end of last year, Jill popped into one of the Facebook groups that we're in together. And she's like, I just listened to Colie's episode and it was amazing. And this is what I did to audit my offers. And now I don't know what to do. And guys, you know, my teacher heart was just like, oh my gosh, someone did the homework that I gave them. Number one. Number two, y'all, she came with receipts. She came with spreadsheets. She came with graphs. I mean, like, all of her data was so amazing. And I'm not even talking about how much money she made because, guys, it was a lot and that's amazing. And we will talk about that. But just the fact that she had taken the time to do everything that I told her and get all of her data organized in order to make decisions for her business in 2023 was amazing. So Jill, you are my hero, and welcome to my podcast. So Jill, we are actually going to talk about your specific offers a little later in the podcast, but I do want you to just give the listening audience a general sense of where you're located and what you do.
I'm in the Catskills, so that's like an hour and a half north of the city, New York City. And I'm a family photographer, and I'm pretty adamant about that. I don't shoot weddings. I don't do other things like that. I will do other iterations of family photography, like newborn maternity, things like that. But that's my primary offer, is family photography. Yes.
And of course, that's how we know each other. Jill is a Simple Sales user. You know, I love to give Anami a shout out when I can. Simple Sales for life. But that is how Jill and I know us. And she is in that group. And when she shared her data, I mean, you know, she gave a shout out to me. She gave a shout out to Anami, which is awesome. But I was just amazed at all of the data that she was able to compile. So first of all, Jill, why don't you tell us about that process? So you listened to the episode, and then how did you end up gathering all of that data in order to do your offer audit?
Like I mentioned to you before we started recording, I am lazy. So I like to keep all of my income in one payment processor. So I use PayPal, and it's really easy for me to just go in and see what I'm making and what I'm bringing in. So, and it's November. It was November when I did that. So it was about time for me to start doing that anyway, to prepare for filing my taxes. So I just went in and I saw, you know, where the money was coming in, and kind of just tabulated it that way, and using Excel. It was kind of a clunky process. Maybe there's a better way, but it took me a few hours, which is not bad considering we were going from January to November. And yeah, I was just able to look and see where that money was coming from. And it was nice. It was eye-opening. Some was surprising. Some of it wasn't surprising.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that. So it took you a few hours, listening audience. That is not that long. And I will say, guys, that if you end up doing this for your 2022 data, tabulating your 2023 data is going to get even faster because you will have gone through the process and you will know what you are doing. So first of all, you said that you were surprised by some things and not surprised by other. So let's talk about your offers. You offer family sessions, mini sessions, motherhood sessions, school photos, studio sessions, associate sessions, baby plans, memberships, and then you had a category for other. So first of all, were you surprised at which?
No, because I should know this right off the top of my head. I think it was family sessions overall. And no, because that's my main offer. That wasn't terribly surprising. That's where the majority of my money was coming from. That's my most expensive offer, and it's kind of what I'm known for. That's my main niche. So that was not surprising. I think that what was surprising was when I broke it down hourly, which I I went ahead and I did that too, to figure out like what was the
Yes.
hourly rate on these different things. That was a little bit more surprising. I was surprised by how profitable my associates were for me, because that was a very small amount of work for me and paid really well. And my school,
Mhm.
my school photography.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because that's a
Yeah,
conversation that you and I
that was
had.
like, oh man, really? That's all that I'm bringing in with that, and that's how much time, because that I have not nailed down a good workflow with that, and if I can't figure one out, that may not be something that I offer in the future. But it so that is
Mhm.
my least efficient for sure, and lowest paying, like by a long shot. Yeah.
Yes. But let's talk about that, because one of the things that I loved, and you were like, full transparency, guys, like I did this offer audit. I have all of these numbers, and now I have
Yeah.
no earthly idea what to do with this information. And so you and I had a conversation in the Facebook group, and then I was like, no, wait, stop. Let's have this conversation on my podcast. So let's actually dive into like looking at your data and trying to figure out how you use that data in order to make decisions for, your business going forward. So we already said your school photos ended up being your least profitable. And so when I saw that, I said, okay, was that surprising? You said no, but I didn't know that
Yeah.
it was like really that unprofitable for me compared to my other offers. So then I brought forth, well, here are the things that we might want to consider for your school photos going forward. Number one, of course, because it is the least profitable, if you eliminated school photos altogether, that would give you more time to pursue some of your other offers that are more profitable. But guys, I want to get away from us just looking at a number and being like, oh, that's not profitable. Let's just get rid of it and move on. Because in the case of school photos, I started to ask Jill a few more questions to understand how school photos fit into her overall offer suite. So, as we've already said, she's got family sessions, she's got many sessions, she's got newborns, she has all of these other offers. And if school photos are very unprofitable for her, we actually need to look at the data to see, yes, but are any of those people moving forward to book a higher offer later in their client journey? And Jill, I asked you this
Yeah, they're
response
not.
was,
So I'm in a really small town, and if all these parents, I'm the photographer for one school. It's the school where my kids go and where my husband works, and there's about 450 kids in the whole school.
Mhm,
These parents already know I exist, and we kind of have a very small middle class here. And as a result, like anybody who, at least this might be a limiting belief, but anybody who was going to hire me from that pool has already hired me. The reason that I stepped up to do the school photos was because I was not pleased with what I was getting sent home in my kid's backpack. I
mhm.
know the other
As a
parents
parent.
weren't either. I have like looked at Elena S. Blair's school boutique photography model, and that's what I wanted to
Mhm,
offer. The school kind of like counter offered with like, no, do this traditional one, which is way more time consuming because you got to get the laser background and like swap it out and all that. It's like a lot of work to make it look good.
mhm.
I'm sure there's a better way. But normally these volume school photographers have a team and they have a way to make it really efficient and pump out like a high volume and be profitable. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in business. So
Yes.
maybe this could be a way for me to like funnel people into my family photography business. Maybe it's just a nice thing that I'm doing that I will do until I don't. Yeah.
Mhm, which is okay. It is I do wanna just stop you though. I mean, doing it for social good, doing it as a member of your community, doing it so that you get decent photos of your kids from school that you love, and giving other parents the opportunity to do the same. There's actually nothing wrong with that. So I do wanna just take a slight pause and say, guys, even though I'm talking about data-driven decisions, like, it's okay for you to still
Yeah.
do something
Yeah.
that's not the most profitable thing in your business,
Yeah, there's really
especially if
no
it makes your
metric
heart
for that.
happy.
And the other thing that I have thrown in with the
Mhm.
school photos is twice a year we go out on the front lawn and I'm in the mountains. It's beautiful. and we'll get pictures of the kids outside. And those are actually big sellers because a lot of these families will never have had the opportunity to have these like beautiful lifestyle photos of their children to hang on the wall, aside from, what I probably can't say the name of the company, but it's the company we all know that does school photos. So it's so that's what I've been able to offer. That is a way more efficient process for me. It's obviously not all the editing, and that's something that I want to kind of push the school more towards and less of like the corny backdrop and all that stuff. So we'll see. I'm taking a mastermind with Elena right now. So included in that, I have access to her schooled course. So I'm going to see if I can like harness that to kind of pivot what I do at the school. Otherwise, I don't know if I can continue to do it this way. It's really a lot.
So I would add, as you said, that the parents or the clients, the parents
Right.
are loving the more lifestyle images. I would actually do a survey of everyone who, because I'm sure you're getting their emails when you're delivering, and just be like, hey, this is not marketing. This is me asking you a question so that I can present this to the school. Which set of images do you prefer? The in-studio ones or the outside ones? And if you can get enough of the parents, to buy in and say that they love the lifestyle ones more, maybe you can actually eliminate those from your offer each year. Because I've only done preschool photos for one school. It was when my daughter was in preschool, and I actually took them outside against a brick wall. Like, no inside photos for me. I don't do flash. I don't do any of that. So I was taking them outside, and they were gorgeous.
Yeah.
We can see the mountains, but they are not close enough for me to do what you're doing. So it's wonderful that you have the Catskills right there and you have a beautiful backdrop to do it. But yeah, I would definitely say try to get the parents buy-in and present that to the school as, listen, I mean, the parents are preferring these images. So can we just try to do the school portraits outside?
I think I'm going to do that. I did a half-assed version of that when like 2 years ago, where I tried to really incentivize parents filling out a short survey so that I could do exactly that. I need to try again because this past year, the school did not schedule me for the fall version of the outside ones. And I had so many parents in my inbox where, we use those for Christmas cards. What happened? And so hopefully we can make that change. And I would hope that like most parents will be okay with that. Yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to kind of step away from your offer audit, but we are going to come back to it. I do want to ask you, because you did say that, it was difficult with the laser backgrounds for the school portraits and that kind of thing. So Jill, I just love to ask everyone.
Yeah, I outsourced my accounting, of course. That was the very first thing that I ever started to outsource. I have tried outsourcing my editing multiple times because of I could probably get away with doing it for my family sessions, my outdoor family sessions. I haven't found an editor, though, that can nail down my studio work the way that I want it done. I heard you talk about it, though, how you had to like you sent a video to your editor of yourself editing. My studio editing is really extensive, though. There's a lot of masking and cloning. And so I don't know. I haven't figured out a way to do that efficiently yet. I outsource to some AI stuff. I don't know if that counts, but I started using, oh my God.
Yeah, it does. What are you using AI
for? That
for?
has saved me so many hours. Oh my goodness.
Me too.
I tried, I don't know if you pronounce it Imogen or Imagine. I tried that.
I don't know. Continue. I just, sometimes with the pronunciations, I'm like,
so this is this is so silly, but I haven't continued to use that because I don't edit in Lightroom. I edit in Adobe Camera Raw. So they are only for Lightroom. It's just not there for me yet. If some sort of piece of AI comes out for editing that works with Adobe Camera Raw, I probably will outsource that too. And then I guess you could say that I outsource shooting. I hired some associates last year. I brought their 1099. Yeah, it's the best. And
amazing.
Because that's the one thing that I always felt like only I could do. But then I'm like, wait, I couldn't always do this. If I could teach them how to do it the way that I do it, all they do is they have a Calendly link that they keep updated with their availability. I send that link to clients who want to hire me, and either I'm not available or I don't want to take that job for one reason or another. And they book, They pay my associates directly. My associate shows up with the information I give them, and they drop off the raw files either in person or via Dropbox, and I edit and deliver. And it is so efficient and great to be at home and make money, knowing that like I have these really great, talented people out there representing me that I can just trust. So that's been huge and kind of pivotal for my business, honestly.
Take that whole last exchange out. Okay, Jill, just because I'm really fascinated. So, how does it work with your associates? So, you're saying that they're paying them directly. Are they just paying them the session fee? Like, how is it that you
Okay,
are
and I
making
will be
money on
totally
associate
transparent
sessions?
with the pricing. So my associates
Oh,
have their
okay.
Calendly link set up. It has the questionnaire that I've told them to put in there, and then through Calendly you can do workflows. So then I get an email of all of those answers and all of the information that I need. My clients, the clients who are hiring my associates, rather, pay automatically right through Calendly $300 to my associates, and that's their flat rate. That's what they make on a regular family session. And then their total cost is $700. So by the day of the session, I invoice them for that $400. And my associates show up to the shoot with the information that I've given them. I do all the planning so that all my associates need to do is shoot,
Hmm.
because I feel like part of what I'm hired for, what people are seeking me out for, is the customer experience. So I don't want to take that away. And I don't want to put that on my associates because that's a lot more work than $300 warrants, right? So I do all that. They get the whole client journey that any of my other clients would get, except it's one of my associates who shows up to shoot. So after the session, my associates usually use Dropbox to send me the raws. Then I use my after shoot. I walk away from the computer. I come back and I edit and deliver those to the clients. And it's been great. It's really been profitable. It's wonderful.
Jill, that is amazing. I mean, and when we think about it, I mean, like $300 is
They think
great
so
to
too.
just show up and shoot for an hour and
Yeah.
not have to
Yeah.
edit. Exactly. And not
Yeah.
have to deal with clients. I mean, I might be convinced to
No,
actually shoot
it's
outdoor
great.
sessions, which everyone listening to the podcast knows I would never do.
Well,
But I
the thing
mean,
is
yeah.
that everybody wants to say that our industry is saturated. I don't believe that. I don't think, first of all, where I am, I don't feel like it's overly saturated. I don't look around and feel like I'm stepping on other photographers. I know in some areas that might be the case. You show up to a location. Yeah. Yeah. So you show up to a
Here.
location and there's photographers everywhere. Like that doesn't really happen here for one, but we still we still have that narrative here. A lot of photographers here have that narrative anyway. I saw these burgeoning photographers coming onto the scene who were just like I was 10 years ago. And, they're charging $50, they're charging $100. Why don't you come and work for me and make $300, learn something, and then we can have a partnership? And you know what? Let me help you build your own business too in the meantime, because if I can get you to where I am in my business, then that's going to elevate our entire local industry. Yeah. Yeah.
Entire industry. Yes, I agree. And it's funny because no, here that does happen. I mean, everybody listening knows I don't go outside, but on the rare occasion that I go outside, one of my long-term clients, I've probably been photographing them for like 10 years. And Jill was like, "We think we want outside this year." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, let's think about where we can go that's less stress." So we ended up going to an outdoor location that is very popular near her house, and they live about an hour south of me. And as I pulled up into the parking lot was full. As I sat there, I feel like 15 photographers started going in while I was waiting for my clients. I mean, and granted, it's very big space. None of us were in each other's way. But I mean, it definitely here, I could throw a rock from my neighborhood and probably hit like 4 photographers. I mean, but saturated, even though there are lots of photographers here, there are actually not a lot of photographers here in
Exactly.
Denver that do what I do. And so that still makes me special. I still get to, offer the sessions that I want to offer. And there aren't a lot of other people where if they Google documentary family photography or family films that,
It is
someone
not a
else pops up.
commodity.
So
And
yes.
that's up to you to make sure that you are not a commodity, that what you offer is special. And there's always going to be enough business going around. I tell my friends, like, we are in a small county, 80,000 people. There's a statistic that I read that only 5% of people ever hire family photographers or only ever hire a professional photographer, right? That
Wow.
still puts us around, like, I can't remember the math.
Yeah.
It's like around 4,000 people. Do you want to shoot 4,000
Yeah.
people this year? Because I don't. No, no. So
I sure do not.
there's plenty of work to go around, and there is a lid for every jar. So I fully believe in abundance over scarcity. I felt like I had an opportunity to help these other photographers kind of like step their game up. They mentor under me for a little while to learn how I shoot and a better way to run their business too while they're at it. And it's a win-win for everybody.
Definitely. Definitely. Let's continue to talk about money. I always like to ask, what is the best investment that you have made in your business?
Yeah.
Because you said you've been in business for 10 plus years. So I'm sure that you have made
Sure.
a myriad of investments in your business. What was the best and what did you gain
I
from
have
it?
two answers. For ones that something I can really quantify, I think that Anami's revenue on repeat was an incredible, like, that had a great ROI for me. It's a relatively inexpensive course, but then what it gave me was a really nice, reliable, steady income, which in photography is not always the case. It can be feast or famine, right? So, and that's how I took December off, because of revenue on repeat, because I could see that I was going to be able to. It wasn't like, cross my fingers and hope that the money comes in. If we're talking about something that we can't really quantify, I would say like my Audible subscription. I read a lot of books or listen to a lot of books that have helped me, I think, improve as a business to the point where, like I was saying, you're no longer a commodity. So things that have helped me improve my customer experience, these books, they're like invaluable because of that. So some of, like, they're borderline tropes because of how often they come up, but like how to win friends and influence people is a really great one that has helped me do my job better. Story brand, that's another really big one. Atomic Habits, which is like life-changing. Recently I read The Science of Getting Rich, which sounds kind of yucky. Okay, so this is a book from 1910.
Okay.
So I'm like, what's The Science of Getting Rich? And I'm listening to it, and it's all about like manifesting and abundance and mindset. And I'm like, oh, this is not what I was expecting. So that one has been a really big one for me too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, those all
Yes.
sound amazing. So we've got Anami's course and we've got Audible so that you can listen to all of these amazing books, basically, in your passive time or while you're working. Because I've never been someone who was able to listen to podcasts as I work, because I get, like you. I mean, you said you listened to my podcast and then you did your offer audit, which is amazing. But I do that. Like when I listen to a podcast, I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. Let me go write this down. So I actually cannot listen to podcasts unless I am doing something passive like driving. It's the only time that I get to listen to my podcast is in the car. Otherwise, I feel like it imposes itself on the other things that I'm trying to currently do for the day. But I don't want to gloss over what you said about Anami's course, because in December, you made over 13K and you took the whole month off, which, I mean, bravo, girl. And just to give some context, guys, for what revenue on repeat is, Anami created a course, not that this is a sales pitch, but I love it. Jill loves it. Everybody loves it. So that you can get your returning clients on a monthly payment plan to pay for their annual session. And then you have steady income every single month of the year. And so I know when I opened my membership, I mean, after I hit the amount that I could just pay my mortgage every month, I was like, this is great. Like you have that much money coming in and you're technically not, having to work for it in that same month.
Thank
so
you.
I'm really happy for you, Jill, that you got to take all of December off. It is funny when people tell me that it's a really slow month for them. Traditionally, December has been an incredibly busy month for me. I always tend to have like a lot of newborns. I tend to have people who want Christmas sessions. So like putting up the Christmas tree, decorating cookies, all of those kinds of things.
Right.
This year, December was very slow, which I really enjoyed the time off. My husband and I went for 5 days. It was great. But just the flexibility for us to be able to do that in our business based on the
Yeah.
decisions that we've
Yeah.
made is great.
That's exactly it. It's wonderful. And I kind of have like parlayed that into my baby plans too. So I took that model and I applied it to my baby plans. So that would be like the people who are investing in more than 2 or 3 sessions for the whole year because they're pregnant, they're having a
Mhm.
baby, their baby's turning one, stuff like that. So, and it's been great. It was like, so at, while I bought 2 of her courses at the same time and I tried both of them, that was the one that was really a home run for me.
And I feel like because the pricing for the membership is based off of your simple sales, I feel like even if people are not implementing simple sales into their business, it usually makes people raise their
Oh
all-inclusive
yeah,
rates.
yeah,
Because it's okay. I mean, if doing sales after the session is not for you, I am here for you, and that is okay. I only care
right,
that you are charging a
right,
sustainable and a profitable rate, and I
right.
actually don't care how you get it from your clients, as
Yeah,
long as you're
yeah, and for
sustainable
sure,
and profitable.
yeah, I am an adult with ADHD. So I have that a lot of that executive dysfunction going on. And as soon as I need to start doing like multiple steps and I remember like, oh, what's next? What's next? We need to do this next and this next. Um, then I drop the ball and I get sloppy. So for me, like simple is better. Like super simple.
Yeah, that well, I mean, Jill, whatever you are
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
is really it's working for you. I mean, I love the fact that you sat down and you did the offer audit. And so, let me just ask you, what have you decided, if anything, to change in your business for 2023 based on the
Well,
results of
I
your
really
offer audit?
I want to be more intentional this year. And so like being able to look at this and say like, oh, March is when the most people booked my motherhood sessions. I'm not even going to talk about them until March. That's when I'm going to zero in on that. These months I know that I really just want to drum up the studio stuff and work on getting those baby plan people in and adding people to my membership. And I just hired another associate. So we're going to work on expanding that. A new offer that I'm going to be adding this year is mentorship. And I don't know if it's going to be paid yet. Right now I have a mentee who's under me and she's my little guinea pig, but so far so good. And if it's something that I can kind of like pivot into to really just make more time for being at home with my kids now that they're getting older and weekends are becoming sacred and they're
Hmm.
full of soccer games and birthday parties and things like I don't want to miss anymore. So and I've always had this feeling
Yes.
like where are all of those 50 and 60-year-old family photographers because I'm not seeing them. They don't exist, right? So
They don't exist. I mean,
so that's like I don't like to do things out of fear, but I am realistic about that. I don't think that is like the trajectory of a career as a family photographer. And you need to find another way to kind of diversify or open up other streams of income and remain relevant. So I don't because I'm a former teacher too. I don't super want to go back to that. I make a lot more money now. My husband's a teacher, so it's awesome. He has that all that really good stuff that
you're like, let me
I
just
do
put this
respect it.
in.
Listen, his health insurance and his pension, like I can't put a price tag on that stuff. So and his schedule and summers off,
Exactly.
like that's good stuff. So between the two of us, we have a really good thing going. I would rather stay as my own boss and continue to do this, but it's a little hamster wheelish where like I got to keep going. I can't just like sit back on my laurels and just like expect this to keep happening on its own. I need to be proactive, like with looking down the road, like 5, 10 years.
Hmm. Oh, I talk. You
Yes.
you know you're an avid listener of
Yeah.
the podcast. Right? I talk about that all the time. And I mean, I just had an episode where I was discussed, or I'm sorry, let me try that again. So when we're recording this, this is actually the weekend after Chinese New Year. And I just flew to Los Angeles for one of my clients. They oddly don't live in
Okay.
Los Angeles, but we did their day in the life in Los Angeles. Um, but I mean, I can't do that forever. I
Yeah.
cannot continue to fly across the country and spend, 2 days with families, photographing them for a full day. I mean, because Sunday ended up being a 15 and a half hour day. it was an incredibly long day. I don't know that I've done another day in the life that was that long. And granted, it's Los Angeles, guys. We spent a lot of time in the car. So I wasn't photographing for 15 and a half hours, but I mean, it was still 15 and a half hours that I was on the clock. And so even though I have loved doing day in the life sessions, I love, showing up at my client's house and chasing their toddlers. I mean, like Jill said, you don't see 50 and 60-year-old family photographers. I would even put out there, you don't see
Oh
50
God.
and 60-year-old wedding photographers.
That's like
So,
a 40-year-old football player. Like that is a
yes,
really hard job.
they do
Yeah.
exist,
Yeah.
but they're rare. Yeah. And so, I mean, if you are a younger photographer or if you are a newer photographer and you are really trying to figure out where you're going with your business, I do really encourage you to look down the line and either, start saving for retirement or figuring out how else you are going to use these amazing photography skills or business skills in order to do something else when being behind the camera isn't exactly where you're going to continue to go. And Jill, I would okay, mentoring aside, once you have a point where you feel like you can really get together and talk about your associate program, I really feel like how you onboard them, and the systems in me is going to say how you do your questionnaires and do the scheduling, like all of that would be really helpful to photographers who think that an associate program would work for them.
Yeah, the associate
Oh, good.
onboarding, all of that information, it's not plentiful. I had to dig really, really deep to find out how other photographers were doing it. What I found was some great information from the legal page on like the legalities behind it and
Mhm.
how yeah, no, nope,
Yes,
nope,
no
nope.
one
No,
skimp
because
on
you
that.
don't want to make it, you don't want it to look like they're your employees. So there's a lot of fine print there with how you can do things to make sure that they are 1099 unless you are able to accommodate employees. And that's a different stage of
Mhm.
business. And maybe one day that's where I'll be. Right now, I am in the 1099 area where I can have, and I actually don't need to 1099 them because the clients are paying them directly. So as long as the money's not passing through me to them, then
Yes.
it's so simple. It is so, so simple. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. But I mean, even
Yeah.
like, running through your systems and how you communicate. Because I know people would have the question of, yeah, but how do you tell the clients that you're not the one showing up? Because I think that a lot of us are like, no, but I am the photographer. Like, this is my brand. I am the one that's producing the photographs. And so I do think that lots of people would be like, but Jill, how do you communicate to the clients that you won't actually be the one that shows up? And the funny thing is,
Exactly.
wedding photographers have been doing it forever. So like they don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
it's
Right.
not that this is out of the realm of possibility. We just have to kind of reframe it and just figure
Yeah.
out how to have that really good communication to let them
Yeah,
know what it is
and
that they are
nobody ever
buying from you.
books me and has somebody else show up. So like when a client reaches out to me and I give them their options, especially if they mention that budget is a concern. My associates are priced maybe like 25% cheaper than I am. So it creates like
Okay.
a lower barrier for some clients who were looking for something a little bit cheaper than what I offer. And I let them know, like, here's Allie's portfolio. Here's Yahira's portfolio. You can see their work here. This is what they're really good at. This is what people are saying about them. Here's how it works. And people book my associates knowing that's who's showing up and that I'm going to be doing the editing, and it's still a very similar experience. That took a lot of training. It's a mindset thing too. If you're a photographer and you think that what you're doing is something that can't be taught to others, then you need to change that mindset. That's scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to recognize that you figured
Mm-hmm.
out how to do what you're doing too. Are they my clones? No, not really, but they get really close. And sometimes one of my associates, her work will pop up in my feed. I'm like, hey, did I do that? Oh no, that's Allie. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's
So
not my photo.
if
Okay.
you can figure out how to teach what you do, the way you do it, so that the people who are hiring or reaching out to your business are still going to get something really comparable to what they're seeing on your website, then you're in good shape.
Yeah. I will say I told a story on the podcast before. I don't remember which. Oh, I know it was. It was the episode with Rachel Greiman. I told a story about how I am now outsourcing my videos. I did not. I mean, that was like the last straw. I was like, I will never outsource films. And I ended up outsourcing films because I just can't sit on a computer long enough with my eyes in order to make them. But my film editor was a little behind and I was feeling a little pressure to get one of my films out. So I sat down and I made a film. And then before I delivered it the next day, my film editor delivered her cut. I watched her cut. I watched my cut. We had chosen about 80%
Wow.
of the exact same clips, but the 20% that she chose to put into the film and how she placed them, I was like, no, her film is better. And so I delivered that film to my clients. And so, I mean, I also think that it's about letting go that you are the only one that can do exactly what you do, because almost anything can be taught. But it's also accepting the possibility that someone else can actually do it better. And that's not just for photography. That's, if you're hiring a virtual assistant and they're sending out your emails, or, someone's creating your social media graphics, like, live for the possibility, or I should say, accept the possibility that when you outsource, you could actually be getting a better product
Yeah,
than
it's a
you are capable
no-brainer.
of
Like a
producing
few
yourself.
years ago, we hired a house cleaner. And of course, she's going to be better at cleaning than I am. But she also does it in probably like an eighth of the time that it takes me to do it. So it is so like it is so
Yes.
much more efficient. And then when you're working for yourself and when you're working from home, time is money. Time is your currency. You can make way more money.
Yes.
There's no limit on that, but I do have a limit on the hours in my day. And if I can outsource things like that so that I can just sit on my butt and edit or market or communicate with clients or do things that I enjoy doing, that I'm good at doing, then that's such a worthwhile investment. Yeah, and yeah, we all know
Yeah.
that when
I
people are
agree.
specialized in something, then they're going to do a better job at it, and they're going to be more efficient. And that goes for anything that we're gonna outsource
Yes.
in our business.
All right, Jill, I've got one last question for you. It's usually my favorite question. Um, so tell me, in the 10 plus years that you've been in business, what is the biggest fuck up that you've had in your
This
business?
is so
And what
painful.
did you learn from
This
it?
is because it is no.
I don't want it to be painful. I want it to be a
So
learning
painful
experience.
because I think the one that comes to mind was only last year, and it happened because I did something that broke my systems, right? Which is usually how this happens, or it's something that's a catalyst for a new system. So I offer these motherhood sessions, and 99% of the time they start off in my studio with hair and makeup with a makeup artist that does not have her own place. So she comes to my studio, I'm there, she does hair,
Mhm.
makeup, wardrobe, everything right there. And she has her own Calendly link, so that gets populated into my calendar, right? So every so often she's not available, and there's actually a salon across the street from my studio that offers hair and makeup for the same rate. So that's where one mom was sent. And so she signed up for her motherhood session. It got rescheduled. When we rescheduled it, I put her in with hair and makeup in that salon, and I must have done it while I was driving or something because I didn't put it in my calendar. Okay. So here I am. It was September, and all day I'm just talking like, I am so happy I don't have to work tonight. I can't believe it. I don't have to work tonight. Picking up my kids from school sit in the yard with a hard cider with my husband when he's home. I love it. I don't have to work tonight. This is the best thing ever. Um, you know, kind of half in the bag, like a little bit. Like it was a summer evening. It was just a nice, relaxing time. My son and my daughter like to take my phone and make videos, so they had my phone. So I walk into
Oh,
my house probably to get another cider. And I hear my iMac ringing, my computer's ringing, like a phone call, and I look and it was it was my studio partner, and she never, ever, ever calls me. Like, she doesn't like to talk on the phone. So I'm like, oh my God, there's an emergency. I answered. She's like, Jill, where are you? Kara, this is the owner of the salon. Kara has your client there. She's been waiting for an hour. She's done with hair and makeup. And I'm like, oh my God. So at this point, it's like 6:45. The sun it's getting darker. I cannot drive. And this mom, so like, also to avoid 1099s, the hair and makeup is paid directly to by the client to the artist. So this mom had gone and she paid a nice amount of money for her session. She paid a nice amount of money for her hair and makeup. And here she was, like, looking beautiful and ready to go with a toddler waiting for me. And I'm not there. And I got on the phone with her and I apologized profusely. And I'm like, come to my house. And it hurts, right? Come to my house. We'll do your session here. So she came to my house. By that point, the sun had gone down. It was dark. I'm outside shooting. And I'm just like, I'm mortified. And I'm like, obviously, you're getting a free session from me. And she was like, listen, we're moms. Like, this happens. I get it. And I don't know why she's so gracious, because she has gone ahead. She totally forgave me. She wasn't upset at all. She loved the pictures that I produced. I delivered her a gallery in black and white because of how high my ISO had to be. So she has since booked like 5 sessions for the coming year, regardless of this. Yeah.
Love hearing about these kinds of things.
It's still really hard for me to think about because that was awful. That was absolutely my biggest fuck up. And it's always been, anytime something in that arena happens, it's because I didn't follow my normal protocol. So
yes.
Yeah, I trust my brain.
That's how I get into trouble
remember
too,
it.
Jill.
I'll remember
all
it.
the time.
When I park, I'll do it.
All the time.
Nope.
And my brain
Never.
is not trustworthy anymore. That's the other thing, guys. You don't want to be a 50 and 60-year-old family photographer, but your brain also works less efficiently the older that you get. So like, whereas 3 years ago, I could totally be like, oh no, I'll remember to put that on the calendar. No, I'm constantly having to stop myself now and being like, no, Colie, sit down, put it down. Yes. Emails is the worst. I find myself looking at emails and being like, oh yeah, I'll answer that when I get back in the office. I don't even remember that person emailed me 2 hours later. Yeah. So now I don't do that.
So exactly. And I really am truly grateful. I guess that it was her, because not many people would have reacted that way. But I still feel like I owe her big time. And now I am just like, in fact, that hair and makeup artist was testing out a service using her booking software and used me accidentally, or I don't know. And 2 days ago, we had another snow day and I got this notification. Don't forget, you have this appointment at the Hair Hive. And I was like, I got on the phone with her immediately. I'm like, Kara, what's going on? Who's in your salon right now? Whose appointment am I missing? She was like, I don't have any. I'm not there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I was able to, we were able to figure out it was because she had just run a test and used my name. But a little PTSD from that.
Gotcha. I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, okay, Jill, this entire conversation has been incredible. I just have to say it one more time. Thank you for listening to my podcast. Thank you for taking the action. It was amazing. Tell the listening audience where they can find you to find out more information on your services, but also when you launch this associate photography.
You have a special kind of brain. You really, I've been looking to step into the education space a little bit more, and I never thought about that. Yeah. So
100%. Yes.
That is,
I'm telling you,
I love
people will buy 100%.
Jill C. Smith Photography. You'll find me, jillcsmithphotography.com, Instagram /Jill C. Smith Photography, Facebook /Jill C. Smith Photography.
All right, guys, that's it for this audience. Once again, I highly encourage you, if you did not listen to episodes 26, 27, and 28 that were all geared towards doing minor audits in your business to make you more sustainable, more profitable, and just living a better life in 2023. Please go back and listen to those 3 episodes and take action just like Jill did.
Thank you,
That's it.
Colie.